How much would you usually spend on a day like today after Unbound?
What do you mean spend?
Spin the legs. For how long?
I'm usually, a super unstructured person.
Really? What? No way.
People think that I'm like super on top of things, but like we're always like super like last minute with packing our stuff.
Really?
So last year, yeah.
Oh, this makes me feel so good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honest, I'm a super ambitious person. So I actually talked to the other Kenyan girls before, and I said, I'm not racing for a top 5. I'm here to win.
Yeah.
So of course I wanted to win, and yeah, that was also my mindset for sure before the start. I must say that I surprisingly wasn't that nervous because I felt prepared.
Yeah.
And I knew that I was in good shape. But I also know that the Unbound is unpredictable and there's so many variables.
Yep.
And that you have to overcome in the race. So yeah, I was actually quite calm before. But I also knew that this year with like really large teams like the PAS team and the Specialized team, that it would be like a hard job to do.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I was probably the most marked rider in the race.
Yeah.
So I just decided to be as calm as possible, position myself well, and I was ready mentally that I had to jump with all dangerous attacks.
Yeah.
So actually before the race I felt pretty good, pretty calm.
I mean, this race is always chaotic.
Yeah.
But I think one thing people don't realize is we often don't know who's going up the road.
Yes.
Or what the gap is.
Exactly.
Or even if there is someone up the road.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How did that happen?
So actually there were already really early on in the race multiple crashes.
Yeah.
Already on the flat section, I think the first crash after 5K, I managed
5K.
to. Yes.
Cool.
I managed to avoid all of them, even though sometimes the rider went like down right in front of me, but could always luckily hold it up. But then once we entered the first really technical section, road divide,
Yeah.
it was surprisingly ruddy and muddy, and I think that's also on me.
Uh-huh.
I didn't really check that section anymore because the entire week was raining, so I never went down there.
Yeah.
I actually entered in okay position, I think in like 5th wheel or so. But unfortunately the rider in front of me and Herike Schröers went down and we went over that rider.
You ran over G.
Like G and me went over the rider that crashed in front of us. And we were both like face down in the mud. And then to be honest, when I was back on the bike, I saw a little group in front of me and I managed to close that down pretty quick, and I could just see something brown in the far. And then I asked, like after a couple of minutes, who's up the road, and someone said like, yeah, there's one PAS girl, I think it's Caramion up the road. And I was like, okay, that's pretty dangerous, but I was like, okay, it's one girl,
Yeah.
And then it was only at kilometer 80 or 90, so just before like 20k out from the Alma feed zone, that we rode up to an early break rider that went really early.
Uh-huh.
And I asked her, hey, how many people are up the road? And also, is there any chance that Lauren Stevens is in there, because I haven't seen her?
Oh yeah.
And she's like, yeah, she's in there. And there's not one power rider, there's 2. And I was like,
gosh.
fuck.
Yeah.
And then I was like, do you by any chance know how far out they are? Yeah, I don't know, but at least 5 minutes.
Oh.
And at that point I already was like, shit. But that wasn't the worst, because I was also already riding for more than 20k on a flat front tire.
Really?
So yeah,
yesterday?
Yes.
What?
I punctured at kilometer 70. So I think I rode like, 45k on my insert to the feed zone.
Oh my god, just like last year.
Just like last year. But this year, fortunately, like I had a wider insert, so it was fine, and Canyon gave me an ultra quick wheel change together with the Mark guys.
I saw the video, that was cool.
Yeah, exactly. So that was at one point, Morgan, G and me, we tried to form like a little ally.
Yeah.
Because even though G's from Specialized, I think she also likes good racing, and she decided, come, this is boring, let's try something.
Yeah.
So the three of us, all from Girona, we tried to collaborate a little bit and tried to make a move stick. And we actually eventually rattled the group down a little bit to like 8 or 9 riders.
Yeah.
And then there was a little bit of cohesion, but then again it went out. And then ultimately there was this water creek where I was able to launch another attack and actually drop the entire group. And then only Lauren, Lucenzo, Sophia and Cecile Lejeune could...
It was down to 4.
We were down to 4, exactly.
So left,
I think considering all the things that went wrong, I should take pride in the 4th place.
Yeah.
But of course, if you're hungry, you want to come to win.
Of course.
So yeah, I'm moving on from this one, and I think the shape is there. So let's hope for a bit of good luck for the next races, and then I'm sure there will be some good results.
Yeah. So let's talk about equipment, because I've noticed that you've done a lot of tinkering, it seems like. Like, it's clear you did your homework.
Yes.
Last year you did this race on narrower tires.
For sure, yeah.
And this year you're on the mountain bike tires.
Yes.
Talk to me about that decision and how you decided that was going to be a better setup this year, even though last year was obviously a successful race for you.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, everyone that has been to Emporia or to Kansas gravel, the Flint Hills, knows that those stones can be pretty sharp.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, I also actually rewatched your YouTube recap from Unbound.
Oh yeah.
And I saw how nice and easily you could always like move up on the sides.
Yeah.
Like before an important section. And I mean, to be honest, I also look a lot at the research that is done.
Yeah.
And actually, due to the reduced vibration losses from the higher volume of the mountain bike tires on gravel that is maybe already this chunky.
Yeah. Which is pretty smooth.
Which is pretty smooth.
Yep. But it's still bumpy.
But it's still bumpy. So there, actually, the MTB tires already roll faster. So for me, it was like paired with the safety of reducing puncture risk, almost like a safe bet, because I knew I had the legs.
Yeah.
So I was like, why should I risk it? And I think, even as I said, like, it's often even the better choice, and even allows you to roll faster. So I just decided to upgrade to 2.2s.
Yep.
The Conti Dappentals. And then I was running them on the SRAM SW Zip wheel set.
Yep.
The nice thing about this wheel set is actually that it has an integrated tire pressure sensor, which I connected to my head unit.
Yep.
So actually, when I suffered my front flat, I could see, okay, I'm still running on 7 psi.
Oh, you could see it real time.
I could see it real time.
That's so cool.
So that was actually quite helpful, because I was like, okay, of course 7 psi is not a lot, but I'm also using an insert.
Yeah.
So I think I can make it to the feed stop to get a wheel swap there.
That's amazing. So you could see in real time, okay, I have just enough pressure still, like it's sealed with just enough pressure, that it's worth continuing to roll.
Exactly.
And then do a wheel change at the aid station rather than stopping and trying to fix it yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if you had that in the past, but sometimes you're also in a race and then you're like, I mean, now this was kind of like a significant flat, but sometimes you have it like that, you have these like ghosts, right?
Yeah.
That you're like, oh, I have a flat.
Yeah. You think you do, but you're not sure. It happens all the time.
It happens all the time.
Now you can be sure.
Yes, exactly, and that's super helpful. So I really, really like it. And it's also even good, like, because now in training, I can kind of like real time see what pressure I'm running.
Yeah.
or if I'm actually testing equipment.
Yep.
And it really gives me a lot of insight. So
that's cool.
I really like that.
Okay, so I have to ask, this is one of the coolest little customizations I've seen for a while. You have a blip
Yes.
on your head unit.
Exactly.
Explain.
Yeah, so I actually have 2 blips on my head unit,
Really?
or like
I
one
see
blip.
the one underneath.
Yes, so one blip on the front and one below.
Yeah.
Because as we know, Unbound gravel, while it's chunky, really chunky at parts, it's also really smooth and really fast at other parts. So if like the gravel is not too crazy, like here, you can actually go in the puppy pause position, and then you can still shift.
And you're shifting.
Yes.
Oh,
and that's actually quite helpful.
When did you come up with that idea?
Yeah, actually together with my partner, who's like an absolute like tech nerd when it comes to bikes.
Yeah.
We were thinking, okay, the puppy pause position is nice, but I was like, oh, I always have to go out of the position when I shift.
Yep.
And then we were like, isn't there a way how we could like kind of, you know, get around that? And then I saw that some people had the blips below the handlebar, and then they were like just reaching over.
Yeah.
But I still felt that was additional effort. So then we were like, can we just put it like on the Karoo?
Yeah.
And then actually Paul did it together with Sam Watts from SRAM. And they glued it on, and I already tested it at the tracker, and now I think this is going to be my standard setup.
Yeah, I was about to say, I might have to look in my box of SRAM parts and pull out a couple of new blips.
Yeah.
That's pretty clean.
Yes, I can really recommend. I like it.
That's cool. Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about that I think is just amazing about what you're doing right now is only half of your career is on the gravel. The other half is with Canyon SRAM. And it sounds like you have a pretty big race coming up soon. You're going to switch gears, switch tire widths.
Yes, oh my God.
I'm guessing the UCI will not allow blips on your bike computer, if I had to guess.
No, I don't think so.
What do you have next?
So next I'm traveling to Switzerland for no less than the Tour de Suisse, which will be my first stage race actually with the team.
Yep.
And I'm super excited for that one. I already checked up the lineup. We're going in with Kasha as our defending Tour de France champion. Yep. But there's also really good competition from all the other teams like Demi Wollering, Martin Reusser. So I think, it will definitely be a hard day in the office for me in a different role, supporting the team. But I'm actually super stoked and excited for it.
That's awesome. That's so cool. And this reminds me, you did Roubaix for the first time this year. And not only did you finish, but you finished very respectably. When I saw your result, which was, I think, right around top 30.
Yeah.
I have to assume you weren't team leader for that, with it being your first time.
Yes.
And yet you still finished top 30. First of all, tell me about the ride in general, like what it felt like to do that effort, maybe in comparison to, say, Unbound, and then also just the carnage of that race, and if the chaos that everyone always talks about, does it compare at all to gravel? Is it worse? Is it not as bad?
Yeah, I must say I remember vividly texting my Girona gravel friends after the race.
Yeah.
If you thought gravel worlds in Belgium was stressful, come to Roubaix. Like, honestly, I think that was the most hectic 40 minutes, like the start of my life, because all the teams, including our teams, wanted to send a rider into the break.
Yeah.
And it was so stressful. Already from the gun, there were so many crashes. I think I hit my 5-second heart rate PB in that race, just out of nervousness. For me, I mean, we had really strong riders in Chloe Dygert, Zoe Buckstead, all of these like rouleur kind of riders there. So yeah, definitely not the leader in the race. Unfortunately, I had a small mechanical after the third cobble section, so I had to let the front group go. And then I think I was quite far back. But then, the gravel legs came into play, and I caught up with one rider after another until I think I got back into the group riding for top 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I entered the Velodrome in Roubaix, and I didn't know in which position I was. And I just told myself, Rosa, this is your first time ever going into a Velodrome. You're gonna keep it chill. You're not gonna crash out the entire group.
That was your first time riding?
Yes.
The first time you rode
so
a velodrome was the Velodrome of
yes,
Roubaix
Payson.
in Roubaix. That is so epic.
Crazy.
Oh
And I mean,
my
that's
God.
not even, from what I learned, this is not even like a super steep velodrome.
No, it's barely even banked by most standards.
Yes, but still I was like, oh, I don't know, like, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like, you know, sprint on the wheel of the person in front of me and roll over the line, and then yeah, finished just I think 31st. But I think it was a super great recon for hopefully another Roubaix showing in the future.
Thank you for catching up. That was really fun.
Yes, thank you for catching up with me.